Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. As today we got another episode of reviewing NHL teams offseason so far. As today we got the Toronto Maple Leafs ahead of us, as we're going to be talking about their pretty decent offseason, I guess you could say. The only thing that I did not like about their offseason was their new goalie tandem and Matt Murray and the Lee of Samsonov. That is a very much of a worrying tandem, to say the least, going into this upcoming season. But before we get into talking about all that, I like to just say, if you are new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that like button as well. It'll be very much appreciated. And if you'd like to become a member, just scroll down there, click that join tab. We have some crazy emotes and you get some early content as well. It'll be very much appreciated if you do become a member. And let's get right into the video, as let's talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs here, as they had a pretty decent offseason, to say the least. Yeah, like I said, the only thing I really didn't like was their goaltending duo. That was like the biggest dislike of this offseason. Everything else, I quite liked what they did. They signed a really good contract to Giordano. They got some really good depth guys, a Noob Kubel and Kaylee Yonkorook, sent a decent contract to Engvall. They had an alright offseason. So let's just jump right into the moves that Kyle Dubas did and talk about the very first thing that's up there is their draft. You know how we usually do it. We jump right into the draft right off the get-go. And their draft was okay. It was definitely not amazing, but it was okay. They got some pretty good prospects here in Fraser Minton and also Nicholas Moldenhauser, and Dennis Hildeby is also not a bad goalie as well that they got as well. So they got some pretty decent prospects in their first three picks. Fraser Minton, who is a very good offensive guy. He plays not too bad defensively. Kind of not a great skater, so there's still some big question marks with Fraser Minton and his potential going forward. And then also Nicholas Moldenhauser, a guy that is a really good offensive production guy, looked really good in the World Juniors there. And overall, some decent prospects, and he's a small, speedy guy that can play right wing and center. So just another extra forward prospect for the Toronto Maple Leafs to add towards their depth. Their depth has been pretty good on the prospect side of things. They've been doing really good at drafting over the past few years, getting Rodion Amarov, who I think still has cancer, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if he's fully recovered yet. Let me guys know in the comment section below. Nicholas Robertson. You got some good prospects here in the system, and now adding a little bit more to that prospect system was quite nice. But overall, good draft here for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Not amazing, but it was all right. Moving to the trades now, and they made some pretty big deals, mostly just cap dumps, and then, of course, picking up Matt Murray. They traded away Peter Mrazek in a first, and they got back a second-round pick. This was mostly a cap dump. We all knew this Peter Mrazek deal was going to be a gong show from day one. Still don't understand why Kyle Dubas did do the signing. I thought it was ridiculous, and I don't know why Kyle Dubas was like, oh, you know what, let's give a goalie who, really only played 40 games per season a fucking, $3.8 million contract for the next 3 years. Yeah, that's a real genius idea there, Kyle Dubas. Really like your plan there, buddy. This deal didn't have to happen, so I'm just going to give the L to the Toronto Maple Leafs. This deal didn't have to happen if Kyle Dubas did not sign the contract for Mrazek. It didn't need to happen. You had Jack Campbell at the time. Did not need to sign Mrazek to this type of deal. Really, really dumb. Not a good move. Not a good look. But moving forward, some draft pick trades, getting some more draft picks to kind of help their drafting this upcoming season, which actually they did pretty good because they got Moldenhauer out of a trade, and then also Dennis Hildeby as well. Some really good moves there for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And then they picked up Matt Murray, a third and a seventh for future considerations. This move, I felt like they could have got a little bit more out of the picks because they did eat a decent amount of Matt Murray's contract. There's still 2 years left, and we've seen, teams get a little bit more picks out of these kind of cap dumps. And to be honest with you, Matt Murray has not been good over the past few years. Not at all. Even taking a look at his game log here, his last 10 games of the season, people said he did a lot better, which, yeah, he did. He had a .917 save percentage, 3.6-2. But is he going to be that type of guy? I mean, look at his, last 5 games. If I could actually get to there. There we go. Last 5 games. He just had an 888 save percentage where he lost 6 games in a row in his last 6 games of that season. So I think there's still a lot to be concerned here with Matt Murray. There's going to be some times where he looks like he'll be really good, but I think there'll be other times where he looks like an abomination. So I really don't like what they're doing here with this tandem of having Matt Murray and then also Samsonov. I think it's a really big risk. They're taking a really big risk that these two goalies might not be good. Matt Murray has not been good since what? Fucking this last year with the Pittsburgh, or the second to last year with the Pittsburgh Penguins was actually his last good season with the Penguins. And even then, he wasn't flawless. Really, his last really good season was his two first years in the NHL. And he hasn't really been able to put up those consistent numbers since. So you're asking yourself a big question. Can Matt Murray be the guy that you need him to be? And can he be consistent? And can he, stay healthy is also a big thing as well. The guy hasn't been healthy for the past, 2 to 3 seasons, has been very inconsistent. This is a guy that, you're really betting on a lot this year for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They're betting on a lot that Samsonov or Matt Murray, those two guys can be really good. Now, you can say that they revitalized Jack Campbell, but you look at Jack Campbell had decent numbers coming into Toronto, and even Frederik Andersen had decent numbers coming into Toronto. So I really don't believe that these. I feel like Matt Murray and Samsonov. I have a little bit more optimism for Samsonov, but I feel like the goalie tandem here for the Leafs is just going to be an abomination. I really do feel like that. They're going to be getting carried a lot by their defensive core and their offensive core, and their goalies are just going to be super, super weak throughout the entire season. I just don't have a whole lot of trust in Matt Murray and Samsonov, and I think a lot of Leafs fans don't have trust in that tandem either. Yeah, you could say Matt Murray won a cup and stuff like that. I keep saying that, those types of roasts compared to what the Edmonton Oilers have, but to be honest with you, Matt Murray has not shown the Stanley Cup caliber goalie in the past few years. So I think there's a lot to be concerned here about the Toronto Maple Leafs tandem moving forward. And it's definitely not something to be excited about this upcoming season. Moving forward, though, we'll get into the signings as right off the get-go, Mark Giordano signed a 2-year contract worth $800,000, and amazing deal here by the Toronto Maple Leafs, getting a very, very good defensive defenseman in Mark Giordano, who can play, the top 6 minutes, can even play on the right side, so that brings some more mobility towards their team as well. And Giordano, I love Giordano. I think he's an amazing defenseman. Loved him ever since he was in Calgary. Thought he was an amazing defenseman. And really good pickup here for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They got him at the draft, or the trade deadline, I meant. And he was really amazing from that point. Did not too bad in the playoffs. Just played really well defensively. I think most fans should be really excited to have him on the team for the next 2 seasons. Even though he's a little bit older, you're going to see at least another good maybe 2 years out of Giordano. He's just been a really solid defenseman over his entire career, and I'm really excited to see what he'll do. Timothy Lilgrin, I love this contract too. 2 years at 1.4 AAV. This was another really good one here. Timothy Lilgrin had an amazing season this past year, putting up some amazing numbers offensively and defensively as well. So I'm really excited to see what he'll do with this next season, as he'll probably take another big step up. I believe, honestly, he'll be able to take top 4 minutes this upcoming season. Quite honestly, I think Timothy Lilgrin will be able to take a big step up for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I think this is a big guy. If he takes a big step up, that defensive core could look really, really solid this upcoming season. Nicholas Kubel, nice depth signing, 1 year at $1 million. Really nice depth signing. Played really physical for the Colorado Avalanche. Doesn't play too bad two-way wise. Samsonov, we already kind of talked about him, but we'll talk about him a little bit more in depth. Samsonov has been a very inconsistent goalie ever since coming over to North America. This guy was really well talked about in the KHL. He put up some crazy numbers in the K. But then he came over to North America, and ever since North America, he has not put up any good numbers. Really, since his first year with the Washington Capitals, he put up some decent numbers. But after that, he hasn't really put up anything since. So I think this year, they got a lot of work with this goalie tandem. And I know people are talking about, oh, the goaltending coaches are really good. You can say that all you want, but they got a lot to work on with 2 goalies that they just brought into the team. Like, you got a lot to build on upon those 2 guys, and you got a franchise that have fans that really want to see this team be successful. And he brought in 2 goalies that you don't even know if they're going to be playing good, man. Like, it's something that is very worrying for a lot of people right now, and this is the most scariest tandem, I think, across the entire league that are right now trying to compete for a cup. They don't have a very good goalie tandem, like, at all. Moving on, no, as we keep butchering their goaltending tandem, Kaylee Yonkorook signed a 4-year deal at a 2.1 AAV. Love this deal. Kaylee Yonkorook had a little bit of a struggle this year, but still plays very good defensively. Definitely is not an offensive guy, but plays very, very good defensively. And then Pierre Engvall signed a 1-year, $2.25 million deal, which I also really like. I thought that deal was pretty good as well. So, a lot of bad moves here for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They did lose Jack Campbell, and I think that was really about the only free agent they did lose. Otherwise, I thought they did really good. Their forward core is looking pretty good. I don't know why they believe that Kerfoot's on a second liner. I really don't like him up there. But for that, all their signings were really good. Their depth is really well defensively. Like, they have built... they picked up some really good defensive forwards with Yonkorook. Campbell is really well defensively. Engvall's a great two-way guy. Kubel, they even got some, depth guys in Adam Gaudette, Kyle Clifford, who really definitely are not offensive guys. So I thought they've done a really good job of improving themselves defensively this upcoming season, which might indeed help them with their horrible goaltending duo there in Matt Murray and Samsonov. So I think they took a really big L in their goaltending tandem. Their defense core looks really solid this upcoming season. I'm excited to see what their defensive core will do. And their forward core, their top 9, they really took a really big swings on some really big players in Kubel and Kaylee Yonkorook, who I think will massively improve the team defensively for their forward core this upcoming season. So there's a lot to like about this team this upcoming season. So what's my grade on this team? It's kind of a rough one because I like their draft was all right. Their trading was just horrible. I really did not like the move that they picked up on Matt Murray. Their signing was okay. Samsonov, I mean, they're not going to hurt you, but like Matt Murray, he signed for the next 2 years, and that's 4.6 when you're so close up against the cap. You really don't have a lot of mobility right now. You're in the negatives right now, so you don't got a lot of mobility moving forward right now. And so Matt Murray doesn't work out for you, then you got to deal with another year at 4.6. And if you got to dump him off, you're probably going to have to give up a little bit more, and you don't really have a whole lot of picks. I give this team, quite honestly, a C+. There was so much room for improvement for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I like the Yonkorook. I like the Engvall signing, but otherwise, it was just mediocre. They didn't do a whole lot to make me feel like they're going to move past that first round this upcoming season. And the big reason why is Matt Murray and Samsonov. I think I could even go lower if they didn't make the moves to pick up Yonkorook, which I really like, signing a good contract to Engvall and getting Giordano and Lilgrin to a good contract. It probably would have been a C-, almost an F, to be quite honest with you, because of the fact that these two goalies are just not proven. I don't really believe that they're going to be good this year. So, C+ for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Tell me, guys, in the comment section below what you guys thought of the Toronto Maple Leafs offseason. As we're getting super close to finishing off this reviewing series, as we're getting down to the last few final teams, and then it's up to the preseason time. So, thank you very much for watching. Hope you guys have been enjoying the series. Tell me, guys, in the comment section below what you guys thought of the Toronto Maple Leafs offseason, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Adios, amigos.